I'm John Holstein, and I'm a senior partner with Polsinelli.
I'm Sly James. I'm the mayor of Kansas City, Missouri.
I'm Charlie Weiss. I'm a partner at Bryan Cave in St. Louis.
I started out practicing in West Plains, Missouri with a wonderful small town law firm, and it was there that I was really given the core that would later serve me very well as both as a trial judge and appellate court judge, and then at the Missouri Supreme Court.
I interviewed with large firms and wound up with Blackwell Sanders in Kansas City. Did defense work from '83 to '93. Then from '93 until 2002, I was a plaintiff's lawyer with my partner Nancy Kenner. 2002, I left to start my own practice, and then in 2009, I decided to run for mayor.
I've been very fortunate over the past 45 years to have been involved in some challenging, exciting, and significant litigation matters, mostly for commercial business entities. But even more rewarding and satisfying has been the opportunity to represent individuals who have not been able to pay for attorneys. And I've also been very fortunate to work for a law firm that has been very supportive of its attorneys devoting their time and effort to do pro bono work.
Whether you're the poorest child in Mississippi County or the richest corporation in St. Louis, the rules ought to be the same for you. We shouldn't have two sets of rules for people. And that, to me, has been my central core belief since I became a lawyer and since I've been a judge. One of my interests, of course, has been the disciplinary system from the time I went to the Supreme Court and even before that. It's really a system that protects the consumer, the client. It has changed a good bit over the years. I currently sit on what's called the Advisory Committee of the Missouri Supreme Court. I also serve as a hearing officer still for the ethics office in Jefferson City, and from time to time we'll hear those cases. So I get to see it personally on an upfront basis, not unlike a trial judge looks at cases, but also I still get to sit with that group that reviews them from an appellate judge's point of view. And hopefully that whole system, as it's now evolved, will assure that there will be uniform responses to complaints that are made. In other words, if you make a complaint in Cape Girardeau, Missouri about what an attorney did, an attorney that does the same thing in Joplin, Missouri will have roughly the same outcome in his case. The clients will have roughly the same outcome in their case.
The Heartland Diversity Initiative was an initiative that I started when I was president of the Bar Association, and that was back in 2002. The idea of the Diversity Initiative was just that, to diversify the legal profession. What we found is that we had some very good firms, very well-meaning firms who were all working against each other to some extent, competing for the same group of people. And by simply bringing them all together and creating a plan, which I was very gratified to see 20 plus of the managing partners of the largest firms in Kansas City sign off on and agree to for 5 years. We were able to increase the number of minority lawyers in the city and in our profession dramatically. We have worked on that diversity initiative since I was president of the Bar Association. It's still going strong today, and it's a program that gave me a lot of faith in the lawyers in Kansas City because they voluntarily agreed to do that, and not only did they agree to do it for the first 5 years, they've renewed it at least 2 or 3 times, and that shows a real commitment to the issue of diversity in Kansas City.
Pope Paul VI said, "If you want peace, work for justice." And I think lawyers in particular are particularly well positioned to promote peace by working for justice. I've been chair of the Access to Justice Committee of the American College of Trial Lawyers for 3 years, and it's been very rewarding and gratifying to see fellows from across the country devoting their time and skills to helping people who cannot afford to help themselves, particularly in areas where justice is really warranted. They have been involved in cases representing kids who have faced deportation. They've been involved in representing prisoners who have been deprived of the most basic needs, and they've done a lot of work in representing wrongfully convicted persons. And chairing that committee was very rewarding.
Remember, it's not about you. It's about the law, it's about your client, and it's about keeping the system functioning properly. Always remember that you need to put yourself in the back seat and let the law drive how the case goes. Usually your client will be satisfied, at least, that they had their day in court, even if they lose.
The only bit of advice that I can give anybody, and that's true in politics, that's true in the practice of law, it's true anywhere, and it's very simple. It's advice my father gave me, and it's a very short statement, and that is, you can't go wrong by doing right.
I'm a member of the standing committee, the ABA Standing Committee on the Federal Judiciary, and that committee basically evaluates prospective nominees that the White House is considering for the federal bench, be it the district court level or the U.S. Court of Appeals level or the Supreme Court level. And in that regard, we look at three fundamental qualities when we look at a prospective nominee, and that's competence, temperament, and integrity. And I think those qualities not only are important for judges, but they're important for all lawyers, particularly young lawyers. It's so important for all of us, if we want to be successful as a lawyer, to be respectful of all those with whom we deal, whether it's the opposing attorney, whether it's the opposing client, whether it's the court, the staff in the court, your own client. And in that respect, I think probably the most important thing any of us can do is respect those with whom we deal. The law, particularly trial law and dispute resolution law, is often an advocacy type profession and endeavor where it's easy to get upset and angry at the other side, but I think it's very important to control ourselves and maintain an even temperament throughout.